one. Hi everyone, this is Christine Josty of Mail Something Pretty, and I wanted to show you how to make these beautiful seashell cards. I'm actually going to do two different videos with two different techniques of how to use the stamps in coordination with the die cuts and the embossing folder. So this video I'm going to show you how to do it with the Stamparatus. If you're making multiple cards, you're going to want to make multiples because they're just so beautiful, and actually you're going to see that they're pretty easy. And so I'm going to show you how to set up an assembly line process. And so you can see, hopefully, that's a light stamped color, but you can do different colors of seashells. So these cards are all stamped with one color, which I'll show you. And let me actually show you the suite of products is the Sand and Sea suite. And you can see there's some just beautiful things that you can make with it and a whole bunch of things. We're just going to use the stamp set and the dies, this embossing folder, and these opal pearls in the pearlized paper. And I think actually the pearlized paper is really what brings it all together. You can just kind of see a big shot of the stamp set. And so I'm going to show you how I did it with the Stamparatus. Put that out of the way. And this was a club project. And so actually for those in club who didn't come, you're watching how I made your card because I had to make it all. I couldn't really send you pieces. All right, so this is Stamparatus. And so your Stamparatus comes with a base. It comes with, actually not this one, but it comes with a black foam piece. This is an extra you can buy, but I'm just going to use the side just to show you that you don't need the extra piece. And it comes with two plates. I'm just going to use one for this card, and I have a few stamps on here, but I'm going to show you how I put them on there. So that's kind of the Stamparatus. It also comes with two magnets. All right, so what I did first, or actually let me show you because this might be a long video, but so like I said, there's two ways of doing it, and you kind of need an order of events, so to speak, to have this kind of symphony of shells all work together. So the process, I'm using the Stamparatus, so it's a little bit different order than if you were just going to cut. So I cut a template that I'm going to show you. I'm going to put the stamps in place. I'm going to ink and stamp. I will cut and then emboss. Excuse me, but if you were doing it without the Stamparatus, you would do it slightly different. So I will do a separate video on that. I think that might be the easier thing. Otherwise, this will take forever. All right, so what I did first to make it easier for myself is I cut a template. So this is just old cardstock, and I cut it 6 by 7. So 6 this way, 7 this way. And I did it that way so that where I'm going to stamp is going to be kind of in the middle of my Stamparatus. So I just always know that this is going to go in the corner, so I always know it will fit. The next thing I did, and so then I cut, let me show you the die. The die is one big piece. It actually comes with a few other pieces, so this is what it comes with. But for this card, we're just using this one piece, so I cut that out. And then can actually put this back in like that, and then you want to line up your stamps. So you can take your, let's show you the stamp set. That's the stamp set, and they're bigger than what are shown on the cover. You get a whole bunch. You get 2 packs of stamps. All right, so I should probably learn how the names of these shells. So you're going to put, and my head may get in the way of the camera, but I want to see where I'm going. So I'm lining up that shell on top of that shell cutout or the place. Same with this one. This one is going to go right there. Oh, my finger's sticking to it. I don't want my finger to stick to it. Right there. And then I would put the other ones on there. I already have them on there. Okay. And then, so you put all your stamps on there, and then you close it. And then you stick it on there. So all your stamps should be all in the exact place where you want them to be. All right, so then we're going to move this out of the way, but save it for future uses. The next thing I did, so I put scrap paper down, and let me put that down. The Pearlized Paper, and I wish you could just see how beautiful it is. Hopefully you can see the sheen a little bit. It's also really thin. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be thick. It's pretty thin, which is kind of nice. It comes in 12 by 12 sheets, 2 sheets per pack. I think it's $5 for the 2 sheets. The die is pretty big, so it just fits. So I want to maximize my paper, right? So I cut this 4 by 6, which means, you know, if it's a 12 by 12 piece of paper, I can get 6 pieces of 4 by 6. But again, it just fits. So what I did was I put that scrap in it and I traced the outline like that. And the reason why is because you're going to see the outline. I want to cover up my outline because that is where my I'm going to stamp and then cut, so it fits on this piece of paper. I don't have to guess. Okay, and I'm going to put my template back on top. Now the magnets, the other part is if you put the magnets on, you have very little space on here, so that's why I put my template back on top. I'm just going to put the magnets on top of here so it does not move. All right, so I was just looking for one more piece. Okay, so now let's see, where's my ink? We're going to do blue shells on this one because actually this is Sue's card. She specified she wanted the blue shells. I know Cindy did too, but I already have Cindy. This is going to be your card because you said you wanted these words too. So this one is your card. So this is what's color is this? Seaside Spray. So I'm going to ink my shells. And they're going to line up right where I want them. You want to press each shell because it's kind of this big stamp. So you want to just make sure that it all gets pressed in there. If you need to re-ink, you can re-ink and stamp. But what I found is the photopolymer stamps sometimes are sticky, so sometimes it sticks to paper. So when you bring it up, the paper wants to kind of come with it a little bit. But you don't want that in case you need to re-ink and re-stamp. So what I discovered is if you take a bone folder or like a ruler and you put this in here, and then I can press down and then I can lift and it won't take the paper with it. But I actually got a good stamp on that one. Okay, but if I had to, then it wouldn't move and then I'd re-ink and then stamp again. Okay, so that was a helpful thing, and then take the ink off there. All right, so now we're going to take the magnets off, take the paper off, move this out of the way. So if I wanted to make more, then I would just do the same thing. I would cover my thing up, my tracing, put this on, ink. If I wanted a different color, I would just take my chamois and wash it and then re-ink and stamp. So you can really kind of make a lot of these quickly. All right, so let me move this stuff out of the way for the next step. Like I said, this kind of has a lot of steps, but it comes together quickly. I'm looking for something that's not here, so I'm just going to improvise. So the Pearlized paper has a little sheen on it, and so it's shiny, which means the ink, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of still wet, so it takes a little bit to dry. So you can just let it be, sit and dry, or if you want to stamp right away, just take scrap paper and just put it on top and blot it. You just don't want to move the paper, so keep the paper in one spot and then just blot the excess ink. You can see I got some of that wet ink off, and it gets a little softer and lighter, which I actually kind of like for the shells. So now we can go on to the next step, which is cutting. So we're going to move some things. So Sorry for the noise. I have to make space for my machine. I have a little table here. All right. So we're going to use the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, which has a super long name, but it does super cool things. So your machine comes with all of these plates with it, so you don't have to buy any extra plates, which is really nice. For this step, we're going to use this in a minute. For this step, we're going to use 2 clear plates, the number 3s, this little plate, and then the thick plate. These are all the plates you use when you cut with the dies. All right, so I'm going to put my paper on here. Do you see how it lines up really nicely? Again, my head might go in the camera, but I just want to make sure I line it up. It lines up perfectly because we lined them up on the Stamparatus, so I know that they're exactly where they need to be. And then I'm going to cut. Move that over because we're going to use that again. And then, so it really uses up quite a lot of the surface of all that paper. So there you go. So it's beautiful right there and then. So you could totally use it. All my shells are lined up really nice. If I wanted to make a card, and I haven't done it yet, but I will, and I'll post some pictures, and I just wanted like one of the shells, you still do exactly what I did, and then you just take some scissors and you just cut along the edges, and that's how you'll get all your individual shells. It's really easy cutting. Okay, but Stampin' Up! Is really smart, and they made this whole coordination 3-step. So the next step is the embossing folder, and I don't know if you can see, but the shape is exactly the same with the texture. So what I found was helpful if I took my piece here and I lined it up this way. You might not be able to see, but I can see how it lines up in the how I know it's really lined up as these seagrasses are lined up. And then you just close the back. So that is in where it should be. You might notice that I have a 3D on here. I also wrote a 3D, the plates tell you what sandwiches to do for what kind of dies, the folders of their dies. And then I also wrote 3D on here. So I know that these 3 go together. That's just how I remember. So you only need the big one. I'm going to put this down and then this gray one. And I'm going to run it back through my machine. Okay. And it really, it's like magical. You open it up and you have, hopefully you can see this texture and the pearl paper and a little bit of a color. It's just beautiful. So that's like most of the card right there. So it wasn't hard. So if I had done a bunch of them, I would just stamp them all, cut them all, and emboss them all, and then you can have this assembly line. And I think that would work out really well. So let me just put the card together. I use Seaside spray cardstock, just a standard piece. I also cut, and it's exactly the same size as the card front because this is so big. I couldn't, or I didn't want to make a smaller layer. So this is 5.5 by 4.25. The exact same is the card front. And I texturized it also. It would have looked fine plain. I think it looks really pretty plain, but I wanted a little something extra, so I made this texture, which is subtle. And this is the seabed. Again, it's a 3D one. It's a seabed embossing folder that's in the annual catalog. It came out with the whale satin paper, and it works really nicely. So we'll just put it together real quick. And you can see, hopefully, the grooves of the shells. Even that would be pretty to have it on the reverse side. So I'm going to use my glue. And on the bumps and stuff, I'm just kind of doing the edges, because if I did it on the inside of the grooves, it wouldn't even matter because it's has that convex concave part when we flip it over. So just do it on some of those raised edges on the seagrass. Okay, I think that's good. Flip it over. Just press it down. It's like so pretty in person. I really hope you can see how beautiful it is. So again, it's in the January through June 2021 mini catalog. I hope, I don't know yet, but I'll know in 2 weeks. I hope this is being carried over into the new annual catalog. I figure it was so much work for them to coordinate the die and the embossing folder and the stamps that it would be silly not to do that. So I have a linen thread. I'm just going to wrap it around twice and then tie it. I'm going to tie in a double knot, and then I will, or not I should say, and then a bow. My thread's a little bit loose, but that's okay. It's just a little bit long. Cut. Okay, and then I'm just going to spread these out a little bit. Okay, and then I will glue it onto my card front. And really, that's all the glue I kind of use. It's sticky, or it's strong, I should say. And then I'm going to line that up and press. And then I will do some words. Let's see, where's my stamp set? So you didn't tell me what word you wanted. I'm going to just do this one. And I'm going to use Misty Marina. I already cut out my label here. Like that. And I'll use dimensionals to put it. I'm going to put one on the top and one on the bottom. And that way it will straddle my thread. And that way, so it can be in any kind of card. You can do thank you, a birthday, or whatever. And because I don't like to leave cards empty on the inside, but sometimes I don't want to pick your words for the inside. This set came with a starfish and a smaller shell. Put that there. And lastly, we need to put some pearls on there. So these are actually not even pearls, they're opal rounds. And hopefully you can see they like an opal that has that glimmer or their sheen to it. It picks up the color of what it's near. So they really work with quite a lot of things. I found my take your pick tool works out great for these. So it has that little putty. So I put it on here and I just kind of push it off and then it sticks. And then you can just kind of stick it. Where did I'm just seeing where I put the pearls on the other one. There, and I'd like one on this tall shell. Sometimes they're hard to pick up even with tweezers, but that pushing off really seems to work. All right. So there you go. So there is the card that I made, and here I'll show you the other colors. This is Petal Pink. This was Crumb Cake, no, not Crumb Cake, Sahara Sand, Highland Heather, and that was another blue one. So not hard, especially if you want to do multiple cards. Like I said, that Stamparatus system kind of really works, and I will film another video and I'll do you'll see the same card, but I'll do different colors on the shells and then we'll stamp them individually just so you see the order, kind of the order of events, so to speak. All right, I really appreciate you watching. I hope you love this as much as I do, and I can't wait to even make more things. There's so many possibilities, and there's tons of ideas on Pinterest already. I'm Christine from Mail Something Pretty. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, visit my website and Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff, and join the community of Mail Something Pretty. Thank you. Bye-bye.